It was supposed to be the happiest day of my life. Or at least, that's what everyone kept telling me. The garden behind the Crystal Lawn Hotel shimmered under strings of golden lights. The scent of roses floated through the evening air, mixed with the chatter of hundreds of guests. And there I stood, wearing the same navy blue suit I'd worn 10 years ago at my own anniversary party, watching my only daughter, Lena, about to start a new chapter of her life. I had dreamed of this day since she was little. Every father does, I think. You imagine walking your daughter down the aisle, her hand trembling slightly in yours, her face glowing beneath the veil. But what I didn't imagine was the strange uneasiness sitting heavy in my chest that evening. Lena looked radiant, pure joy in her eyes. But Adam, her groom, kept glancing at me with something darker, something smug. I had tried to ignore it for months, pushing away my doubts whenever Lena said, "Dad, Adam's just ambitious. He speaks his mind, that's all." Ambitious, maybe. But there's a difference between confidence and cruelty. The ceremony went smoothly. The vows, the applause, the flashes of cameras. But the real story began later, at the reception. That's when Adam made the comment that tore everything apart. The band had just finished playing, Can't Help Falling in Love. Glasses clinked. Everyone laughed. Then Adam stood, holding the mic, that charming smile plastered across his face. "Before we wrap up dinner," he said, "I'd like to say a few words." The crowd quieted. Lena beamed at him, unaware of what was coming. "I want to thank everyone here," Adam continued, "especially my new family, my wonderful wife, and—" he turned to me, pausing just a second too long, "and my father-in-law." A polite wave of applause. I smiled faintly, lifting my glass. He wasn't done. "Some people told me I was taking a big risk marrying into a family without big connections or wealth," he said with a laugh. "But I believe in building from scratch. Not everyone's born with something to offer, right?" Laughter rippled, uneasy. I felt the words sting before I could even process them. He raised his glass toward me. "So here's to hard work, and proving that even the worthless among us can still raise a great daughter." Silence. The air froze. Lena's smile vanished. I don't remember how I managed to stay seated. My hands clenched around the glass, knuckles white. The word worthless echoed in my head like a gunshot. I stood quietly, gave a tight nod, and left the hall before anyone could stop me. The night air hit like a slap. My vision blurred, not from tears, but from disbelief. I wasn't rich, true. I'd worked as a schoolteacher for 30 years, saved every rupee I could for Lena's education. I'd never felt ashamed of that. Until that moment. Inside, music started again, the party pretending to forget what just happened. But I couldn't. That single word had broken something inside me. And yet, beneath the humiliation, another feeling stirred, resolve. Because I knew something about Adam that no one else at that table did. Flashback, Wednesday afternoon. Adam had visited my house under the pretext of picking up some family documents. While waiting for Lena, he made a phone call in the living room, loudspeaker on, thinking I wasn't listening. "Yeah, transfer it under the shell company," he'd said. "No one will trace it. Once the tender is sealed, we'll pull the plug and disappear." The word shell company stayed in my mind. Later that night, curiosity got the better of me. I searched the name of his firm, Silverpath Consultancy. On the surface, it was a clean IT startup, but buried under corporate filings was a maze of fake directors and offshore links. Something was wrong, but I'd held my tongue, not wanting to ruin Lena's wedding. Now, after his insult, I realized silence had been a mistake. When I returned home that night, the house felt emptier than ever. I poured myself a cup of tea, though it tasted like metal. I stared at the photos on the wall. Lena in her school uniform, me holding her certificate, her mother smiling proudly before she passed away 5 years ago. "Your daughter will marry a good man someday," my wife had said once. "Someone who'll respect the values you taught her." If only she could see this now. That night, something inside me changed. The humiliation transformed into fuel. I whispered to the empty room, "You called me worthless. In 72 hours, you'll understand the value of what you destroyed." Morning sunlight poured through the curtains. I sat at my old desk, opened my laptop, and began digging. My years as a teacher hadn't just taught me patience. They'd made me meticulous. Every trail Adam left online, I followed. Company registrations, digital footprints, LinkedIn posts, business partners. Within 2 hours, a pattern appeared. Adam's startup wasn't developing software at all. It was funneling government grants meant for rural education programs into fake invoices and consultant payments. He'd bragged on social media about government contacts and investment schemes. The more I found, the more my anger solidified into focus. But I needed proof, concrete evidence that would end his career, not just rumors. That's when I remembered Ollie, one of my former students. He worked in the cybercrime wing now. I dialed his number. "Ollie, it's Sir Aslam," I said. "Sir, wow, it's been years. How are you?" "Better, now that I can finally use one of your lessons," I said with a weak laugh. "I need help verifying some documents, quietly." Ollie's tone shifted. "Something serious?" "Serious enough to ruin a man if it's true." He agreed to meet that afternoon at a small cafe away from the main city. I printed out every suspicious transaction and fake director name I'd found. When I showed him, Ollie whistled. "Sir, this is huge. If these records are real, it's corporate fraud. I can cross-check these IDs with our system." "How long will it take?" I asked. "Maybe 2 days. But why do you want to do this?" I met his eyes and said quietly, "Because someone forgot what integrity looks like." I returned home and sat on the balcony, city lights flickering below. Somewhere downtown, Adam was probably celebrating his victory, mocking the old man he'd humiliated. I took a deep breath and whispered to the night, "Tick-tock, Adam. 72 hours start now." When dawn broke the next morning, I didn't feel tired despite barely sleeping. Something inside me had awakened, an old fire I hadn't felt in years. Maybe it was pride, maybe pain, or maybe the deep instinct of a father who'd watched his child walk into danger and decided to fight back quietly. The city was already alive when I left home. I grabbed a strong cup of tea from a roadside stall, breathing in the steam and the noise of buses rushing past. It grounded me, reminded me who I was, not the worthless man Adam saw, but someone who'd built a life from honesty and persistence. At 10:42 a.m., my phone buzzed. "Sir, it's Ollie. I checked the IDs you gave me." His voice sounded sharper now, professional. "What did you find?" I asked, my heart thudding. 3 of those directors don't exist. Their national ID numbers are fake. The 4th one, he hesitated, belongs to a retired peon from a school in Faisalabad. He has no idea his name's on any company. I clenched my jaw. That's all I needed to hear. "Sir, if you want, I can file an internal report. It might take a few weeks, though." "No," I said quickly. "Not yet. I need to finish something first." Ollie sighed. "Sir, you sound like you're planning something." "Not planning," I said quietly. "Executing. Every revenge requires precision and allies. There was one more person I could trust, Nadia Raymond, an investigative journalist who'd once interviewed me for a school corruption story years ago. She was sharp, brave, and had the kind of voice that made officials panic when she called. I sent her a message. "Need a favor. Something big. Fraud, corruption, deception. Interested?" She replied within 5 minutes. "If it's real, I'm in. Meet me at 2 p.m., Cafe Horizon." I printed out Adam's fake invoices, corporate records, screenshots of his posts, and even a few photos from his company's office. A rented one-room flat that looked more like a prop than a workspace. By the time I reached the cafe, I could feel the pulse of a storm building. Nadia was exactly as I remembered, focused eyes, a notebook always half filled with scribbles. She looked at the folder I slid across the table, then back at me. "What's this about?" "My son-in-law," I said simply. "Or rather, the man who thinks he can cheat the world and get away with it." For a few moments, she said nothing, just skimmed the documents. Then she looked up, eyes narrowing. "Silverpath Consultancy. I've heard whispers about this company. Someone mentioned it in a tender scam last year." "Then you'll want to see this," I said, showing her the printouts Ollie had verified. She exhaled. "This is solid evidence, Aslam. If we publish this, Not yet, I interrupted. Give me 72 hours. I'll bring you everything you need to bury him properly. I just need your word that once I hand it over, you won't hold back. She nodded slowly. You have my word. That evening, I drove past Adam's company building. It looked expensive from the outside, glassy front, a fake luxury nameplate, people pretending to work behind tinted windows. I parked nearby, observing quietly. A young man came out of the gate, lighting a cigarette. I approached him casually. Excuse me, Beta. I'm looking for Silverpath Consultancy. Is Adam Ahmed here? He laughed. Boss hardly shows up. Comes twice a week, takes pictures, leaves. The rest of us just follow orders from his assistant. His assistant? I asked. Yes, Anna. She handles all the fake paperwork. All the reports. He chuckled nervously, realizing what he'd just admitted. I smiled. Thanks, son. That's all I needed. That small slip gave me the missing piece, someone inside the company who could confirm everything. The next day, I waited outside the building again. Around 9 a.m., Sanaa, the assistant, arrived, mid-20s, modestly dressed, eyes tired. I approached gently, pretending to be a journalist. Excuse me, miss. I'm doing a piece on Silverpath's community programs. Mind if I ask a few questions? She blinked. Community programs? We don't. She stopped, realizing she'd said too much. I lowered my voice. Listen, Sanaa. I know what's happening in there. I'm not here to harm you. But if you help me, I can help you. Her expression shifted from confusion to fear. I could lose my job, she whispered. You'll lose much more if you stay silent. I said, you're working for a fraud. When this explodes, and it will, you'll go down with him. Or you can give me what I need and walk away clean. She hesitated, glancing around. Finally, she nodded. Meet me after work at the old bookstore on Jinnah Road. 7 p.m., don't tell anyone. The bookstore was almost empty, dust dancing in the warm light from hanging bulbs. Sanaa arrived wearing a scarf, looking over her shoulder nervously. I don't know why I'm doing this, she said, handing me a flash drive. But everything's in here, emails, fake project proposals, even voice recordings where Adam talks about adjusting invoices. I've backed up the files just in case. I took it carefully. You've done the right thing. She sighed. He promised us high salaries, government contracts, luxury offices. But it's all a lie. He's been laundering grant money through fake NGOs. I nodded slowly. Thank you. After today, don't go back there. Her voice trembled. He's dangerous, sir. Be careful. That night, I connected the flash drive to my laptop. File after file confirmed everything. Forged receipts, fake bank statements, even audio clips of Adam laughing with his partners. Easy money, he said in one clip. They'll never catch us. And that old fool of a father-in-law, he's too busy playing moral teacher. Hearing that, I felt a strange calm settle over me. Not rage, clarity. Every insult, every fake smile, every word he'd used to belittle me, now had weight behind it. Proof. I organized the files neatly, cross-referenced them, and prepared a timeline of his fraud. By dawn, my entire desk was covered in notes, screenshots, and a handwritten list titled, How to Destroy Adam in 72 Hours. The next morning, I sent the first anonymous email from a new account to the Grant Oversight Bureau. It included copies of the forged contracts and a short note. This is a sample of what Silverpath Consultancy has been doing with public funds. The evidence speaks for itself. Then, I sent the same package to Nadia, with a message. Release it tomorrow morning. Let the truth breathe first. But I wasn't done yet. I printed several documents and placed them in a sealed envelope addressed to Mr. Qureshi, the government officer whose signature Adam had forged repeatedly. I knew that once Qureshi saw his name on fake paperwork, he'd erupt. By noon, my plan was in motion. By sunset, the whispers had started. Social media posts appeared that evening. Breaking, investigation underway into fraudulent consultancy firm linked to education grants. Unconfirmed reports suggest fake documents under a company called Silverpath. Adam didn't know yet who'd started it, But panic was inevitable. I imagined him pacing his fancy office, barking orders, trying to call his contacts. But there was no saving him now. The net had been cast. That night, I sat in the same chair where I'd once felt humiliation, now feeling something different, justice in motion. 72 hours were almost up. When the sun rose on the third morning, I felt a strange quiet in my bones. It wasn't the empty kind of quiet that follows a storm. It was the heavy, deliberate hush that comes right before.